Now, my Fridays have always been plain and simple, but for this one crew, their Fridays are always pushed to the limits. And I'm intrigued, and I want to know, and I want to ask them, how do y'all keep getting yourselves in these situations, man? So, this is what we know so far. Craig Jones was born in 1972 in South Central Los Angeles, California. Just looking at the license plate registration tell her that it's 1994, and his father told him that he'd been smelling his stuff for the past 22 years.
Oh man, I'll wait till you come out.
Boy, bring your ass off up in here. What you talking about? You wait till I come out. I smelt your shit for 22 years. Now you can't smell mine for 5 minutes.
22 years old is confirmed. Speaking of dad, he was born to Willie and Betty Jones. He has one sister, Dana. His granddad name is Ephraim, which he claimed he was the reason why Rosa Parks was arrested. And his grandma, I couldn't get her name, but she's referenced because she's smacked by Willie.
Boy, hey mama.
What the hell you want with?
Friendships are tough, but Craig kept him one in his corner pocket, Smokey. Through thick and thin, Smokey's always been there for Craig. Craig was also loved by the women in the area. Big Mary and Smokey's mom had an eye for him. Even though he had those crushes, he also had a few women that he dated. Note, I said dated. Debbie was his number one prize, but not before having to go through Joy. She stayed blaming him for other women, but in all actuality, she had a whole man laid up in the bed with her. Now, I think the timeline is screwed up in Friday as a whole because Craig's most powerful girlfriend of all time was Condi, but I'll come back to that topic. Now, Craig had a feud with his pops because he didn't have a job. See, at first, he had a job, then he got fired for stealing boxes on his day off. Now, if you pay attention closely, a guy named Red was a neighborhood friend that he knew, and he said they was clowning him at work all day for getting fired. So that means Craig worked with Red, and Red had a uniform on that said mailroom, but it had UPS colors. He could have worked at UPS in the Sword area, or he could have worked at the post office, but I can't confirm this. Now, Craig wasn't a drug user, but with the help of good old peer pressure, Craig became a shermhead. Now, before all that, Smokey had started him off by getting high because it's Friday, he ain't got no job, he ain't got nothing to do. Smokey put Craig into one of his most dangerous situations in life ever. He had to go head up with Big Worm, who sent guys to his house to do a drive-by. Not only that, the girl that I was talking about earlier, she had a sister named Felicia, and she was a neighborhood hero. To the dope fiends, of course. And she was beaten by a childhood friend of Craig's, Debo. Now, Debo was like Superman in the hood, unbeatable. He stood over 6 feet, plus he was over 260 pounds, all muscle. Well, Craig took up for Debbie and fought Debo. The moral of the story is, Craig won. Now it's 1999, and Craig still don't have a job. That fight Craig got into with Debo, it caused Debo to get arrested. He was sentenced to 4 years plus in jail. Then Debo had it out for Craig, and Craig found out he was breaking out of jail, so his dad moved him to Rancho Cucamonga, California, with his uncle Elroy and his favorite cousin Day-Day. Staying here, he ended up meeting Roach and Day-Day's old boss, Pinky. Now in the story, you can see a whiteboard that has the Road Dogg album written down as a new release, and it was set for a 1999 release. And also the magazine with Method Man portraying Superman, which has a date of March 1999, and the shelf life is short for magazines, so we can confirm that this was around February or March 1999. Now Pinky owned the store and he thought Craig was trying to rob it, so they got into an altercation which led to them even getting closer. He also met a woman named Carla, and she was the girl next door. She was pretty, but she had a big issue for Craig. She had 3 older brothers, and they were overprotective of her, and they were called the Joker Brothers. The most logical way that he ends up doing this is first finding out that the house that he moved into that's owned by his uncle was about to get auctioned off because he failed to pay his property taxes, so he went to steal the money from the Joker Brothers because they may have some sort of cartel business. Now this is crucial to his future for doing this. Now moving along to December is Christmas and it's Friday. Now looking at a calendar, backtracking, the only Friday that falls on a Christmas Eve is in 1999. So the year is 1999, and Craig also lives in the Shady Palm apartment complex. He lived with only Day-Day this time around. Now I looked up the address for the apartments, and they are in the Los Angeles area this time instead of Rancho Cucamonga. Day-Day must have wanted to move away from Baby D and Tawana. Now their house is robbed by Santa Claus. Now I want to personally point out the police on this case. It was Officer A. Hole and B. Dix. 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 Now Craig owns the landlord, Miss Pearlie, rent money for the month. She's going to enforce it through her son Damon if they don't pay up. Now, Damon was also a childhood friend of Craig, and he was similar to Debo. I said God gave him an answer because he finally gets another job with the help of his dad and become a security guard for Molly at Brothers Barbecue, owned by his dad and his uncle Elroy at Carson Plaza. Now, as quick as he got the job, he was fired from his job again. This time it was for a reason. See, they cursed this church-going lady out, and she had some grandkids that were Crips, and I think some were Bloods too. They beat up Molly and they fired him for not protecting her. Fair enough. Now at the job, before he gets fired, he meets Donna and Mike. Now I don't know if it went far with Donna, but I do know she gave him an early Christmas present. Now he ends up getting the money by throwing a rent party and got his stuff back from Santa, which had his rent stuff and his stolen stuff. Now this is my confusion with the timeline that I mentioned earlier. Now let's move to 2005, and let's just say it goes smoothly. So let's say everything connects. Well, Craig moves back home with his mom and dad because he didn't have a job, so he couldn't keep paying rent, which is understandable. Now Craig links back up with Smokey, and now they on best friend terms again. But Willie is really pissed off from Craig not having a job more and more, which is still understandable. So Craig and Smokey discovers a tree that looks like Notorious B.I.G., and he and his dad went into a tree show business with Puff Daddy, but Puffy backed out. Now Craig also ran into a third job, working for the Big Brother program inspired by Debbie. Now this program is for underprivileged kids that don't have anyone to look up to, so they are assigned to Big Brother. And Craig was assigned Debo. Yep, Debo. But he changed Debo, and he was actually nice, but the neighborhood was going bad because Debo didn't control it anymore. Now this was his reason for quitting once again, and Craig is without a job once again. Now back to Condoleezza Rice. Now this was his most successful girlfriend, but she was also crazy. But Bush was calling her to go back under his wing. Connie was in office in 2005, plus Biggie and Pac referenced that they were in heaven.
It's nonsense like this that got us up here.
Bet they'd be surprised to see us kicking it up in heaven together.
But they passed in 1996 and 1997 respectfully. He also met Money Mike in 1999, so that's why I say it's falling into perspective. Finally, I had to pay close attention to this because it can go either way. Then Craig ends up going into business with his uncle Elroy at Brothers Barbecue, and that's why I said it was very important for him to steal that money from Carlos Brothers, or Elroy may have not started Brothers Barbecue and had moved on or went out of state. Now under Brothers Barbecue, they started a chain of barbecue strip clubs named Booty Cubes, and in here he met his wife, Cartier, which was the head stripper. Now he and Cartier have kids together, Craig Jones Jr. and Flantasia Jones.
Damn, Junior, give Daddy a break. He's late for work. Oh, yeah, you better run. And Flantasia, I told you.
But this was a vision by Smokey, and he corrected it. But the spirit didn't die, and he could have still convinced Smokey to go make Craig change his mind to go keep working. Maybe we can find out more when the next Friday movement comes along. Now, if you feel like I left something out or something is wrong, please let me know. Peace.